Do you have that desire? Have you had that desire to create more passion projects, using your spare time to develop your skills or build your portfolio? Maybe you have trouble finding motivation. Do you procrastinate or having a hard time getting started? Does some of this sound familiar? It definitely does for me. Today's video will be a bit different. I'm just gonna talk about building habits, a couple of the tools that has helped me being the most productive that I can be with the time that I have. Let's just get into it. I'm just gonna start right off the bat with one of the books that has really provided me with a lot of good information. It's called Manage Your Day Today. A lot of good information about being a creative professional in general, but also about building habits. A line in this book that really sort of distills what I personally think a habit is, or at least can be. And it's this: at the end of the day, or really from the beginning, building a routine is all about persistence and consistency. Don't wait for inspiration, create a framework for it. Persistence and consistency is really what it takes to build a habit. I will add frequency to that list as well. Doing things again and again is really what it's about. At first, it can be a challenge, but the transition from struggling with something and slowly seeing it grow into a natural part of your day is an amazing feeling, in my opinion. Whether you just want to improve your skills, create more, or maybe even more importantly, just create something consistently. One of the habits that I try my best to keep up with is writing a to-do list for the next day. So every evening, writing down what I would like to do the next day. And this is one of those simple things that completely changed my productivity level. For some reason, it feels easier to get started when you have written it down the day before. It feels like your brain has sort of been preparing for it the whole night, and then you can just jump right in the next day. And also, if it's on that list, for me, it just makes it easier not to procrastinate and find excuses not to do it, because it's on the list, so you have to do it. I think this goes into something described in the book, The Power of Habit. And I really agree with this, that habits is sort of a tool to automate processes, to make room for others. In the book, there's this sentence: the process of turning a sequence of actions into an automatic routine is known as chunking, and it forms the basis of all habit formation. Its evolutionary role is clear and is crucial. It allows the brain to save energy and perform common tasks efficiently. It's really about creating a framework to locate where you might waste time and energy and see if this can be created or made into an automated process. And automated in the sense that it's effortless, not that it's AI or created by a robot. Although if you have that possibility of using a robot to do some of your work, you might as well use it. I see it like this. These habits should give you space so you can use your energy where you want to, or maybe where it will have a bigger impact. I think that is also why you hear that about so many well-known creatives having a very rigid schedule they follow. One of the examples you may have heard about is the writer Stephen King. His days sound sort of like this: I have my vitamin pill and my music, sit in the same seat, and the papers are all arranged in the same places. The cumulative purpose of doing these things the same day every day seems to be a way of saying to the mind, you're going to be dreaming soon. I really like this and I can really relate to it, but I would love to be better in this aspect. It's often a mess around here where I work, at least on my personal projects. But the idea of creating a place where your expectations is set and your mind won't be filled with unnecessary BS because everything in front of you is familiar, except the creative work you are about to create. That makes a ton of sense for me. It's one of those things, whenever I have tried it, it's been a big help. It's just isn't exactly a habit yet, but it will be at some point, hopefully. There's room for improvement. In Manage Your Day Today, there's a line that speaks to this. Routines help us do this by setting expectations about availability, aligning our workflow with our energy levels, and getting our minds into a regular rhythm of creating. I think this speaks to what I said before about creating a framework for your habit and getting yourself in that creative zone, and letting your mind be comfortable with what you are doing. Starting a new habit can really be a daunting task. In my opinion, the key is really just to start small. If you do something every day, the pressure becomes a lot smaller. Have you ever thought about going on a diet or something? I'm definitely guilty of this. And I go, I'm going to wake up 1 hour earlier, 2 hours earlier. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to work out later. I'm only going to eat meat and vegetables. I'm not going to touch sugar. And, something like that. Most of the times that's not going to hold up because it's too much and I can't focus on all of it. So what if I instead just focused on one of the things and made that into a habit? And after that thing is part of my everyday, I could slowly add the next one and the next one. And I think we can do the same things when creating our art or our work. You don't have to go all in and cancel all your social appointments, stop playing video games, or stop watching Netflix. But what if you start with spending 1 or 2 hours every night, or maybe every other night, whatever fits your life? And then you can add more time if you're able to. In the motion design industry, doing every days or daily renders has really become popular. If you look at a guy like Mike Winkelmann or Beeblecrab, who has really been a big part of doing every day. So he's been doing it for like 12 or 13 years, talking about a habit, right? I think some of the reason why this is so popular is that people could suddenly see their progress day by day. Putting a little bit of time in every day can develop into a lot of new skills learned in the long run. I can't say if these things work for you. It's obviously very different from person to person. But I hope that some of what I've talked about can provide some information about some of the paths that you can take to developing habits. As with everything else, I like to just try different things and techniques I learn from others, and then I sort through it and find out what fits best for me and for my life. I'm still in the process of learning and implementing new techniques. I might as well share some of the techniques I learned along the way. I want to end off this by a quote from the book Manage Your Day Today, and it's by Gretchen Rubin. What I do every day matters more than what I do once in a while. Day by day, we build our lives, and day by day, we take steps towards making the magnificent creations of our imaginations. Really, that's what it's about for me. It's about getting more time to actually creating things. Do you have any sort of habits that get you in that creative space or that builds a framework for creation? Or do you have any bad habits that you would like to change? Let me know in the comments. I would love to see if you have some techniques that I could implement, or maybe we could have a discussion about how we can change the bad habits. I can really recommend the books that I mentioned, especially Manage Your Day Today. I think it's a must-have as a creative. I've read it a couple of times, and there's always great reminders and great tools and techniques that I can implement. I have a link to the books in the description. I guess that's it for this new type of video. I hope this provides some value for you, and let me know what you think of this kind of video. I know it's not exactly a tutorial, but I think the principles, tools, techniques, and ideas that I talked about is something that has been and still is a huge part of my life as a creative, and I hope that it can help someone else. I'm not perfect with these habits in any way. I mess up all the time, and I really haven't figured a lot of this out. But I believe in that Japanese philosophy, Kaizen, and I'm doing my best to follow that. I will see you in the next video. Let me know if you even made it this far to the end. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye bye.